Hi, and welcome to another episode of On Air with Danielle. I am here with Marie, and she's going to introduce herself. I hope I pronounced her name right.
Yes. Yes. My name is Mary Welp, and I live in Louisville, Kentucky. And I have been a hypnotherapist for over 20 years. And since the pandemic, I have developed a course and a practice called RISE Hypnotic Meditation. And it helps to teach people how to go inward and to shift their programming, because we're really working out of programming. So it helps us to change that, because as we, change and grow and get older, things change, and we want our values to reflect our differences, and how we are now.
Yeah, I have actually tried it on hypnosis, on doing just podcasts, just to try to rewrite my brain. So
how have you found that? Yeah.
I found it kind of helpful. I do it while I sleep. So I find it too, when I wake up, I feel like a different person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
But also, if you do it in a more conscious state, it also really helps to change habit, because it's kind of solidifying it in your conscious brain. Okay. So when you're asleep and doing it, it does shift your subconscious.
Yeah.
But by really stating it, even if it's through affirmation or something in a conscious state, it'll add another layer on it for you.
Okay, I'm going to try that. So what made you want to get into hypnosis?
Yes, well, hypnosis is a state that we are in all the time.
Yeah.
We're often, when we lose time for some reason or another, or we're driving down the street, we miss our exit on the freeway. Yeah. These are all times when we are in hypnotic states. Our body craves it. It wants it. Our mind wants it. It really is a way that lets our nervous system stop and take a minute and take a pause. The other thing that hypnosis is wonderful at is at eliminating that barrier between the conscious and the subconscious brain. Because if we are just stay in the conscious, we can't really. Our conscious brain is just fulfilling what our subconscious programming has already set up for us. So if we've already determined that, either by experience, maybe not rationalizations, but experience, that we are always going to be a victim, or no one's ever going to like us, or we're never going to learn math, or we're never going to have meaningful friendships, or when we put those labels on ourselves, we act out of that. And so we've already kind of predetermined what's going to happen to us by the thoughts that we have.
Do you think it can heal traumatic experiences, like kind of rewrite the traumatic experiences of our minds and bodies, hypnosis?
I do, because I think it can help you to reframe it. And what I have often done with my hypnosis clients is have them go back to a traumatic event and to look at it as if they're watching a movie, and look at it kind of from outside the experience and see what else was happening. Sometimes the perpetuator of violence or of trauma on us often is going through their own traumas, and it doesn't approve of it. It doesn't make it validate their behavior. But sometimes if you can look at the big picture, it helps get us out of where we're stuck.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, it's really hard when you're dealing with trauma. It does feel like you're stuck. And then looking from it from a different perspective is a good thing, because you're not blaming yourself completely.
Right. Well, let me tell you, maybe you already know, but about neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity is when we think the same thoughts over and over. We feel threatened over and over. It's going to make a groove in our brains, so that our thoughts are going to just fill right into that groove, because we've already established that this is our reality. So until we say, no, I don't want to be in that groove anymore, I want a new one, I want to play a new song, I want to be different, then the shift can really happen. And intention is so powerful.
Yeah, that's so true. I've tried everything to deal with my trauma. I've done everything just to try to get my body to stop being in that protective mode constantly.
Yes.
So I think that hypnosis is probably one of the best things to do, to just for your brain.
Yeah. And just to let you know, that really is your brain's job, is for safety.
Yeah.
So your brain is always looking for trouble, and it will always tell us to sit on the couch and not to go out and try, because it's afraid and it wants us safe. So I think as we get older and we kind of grow away from our traumas, to remind our brains that we're okay, that, you know, we're not in the same position we were in before. We've taken care of ourselves to get us out of harm's way, and, you know, that we can be okay.
Yeah, because it does feel like a struggle. Sometimes a daily struggle just to get out of that thought process and that anxiety of just jumping into something new, or just like normal things.
Yeah.
Just by leaving the house, it's like, oh, sometimes I just get so anxious.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, again, we're talking about rewiring and reframing. So what I've realized is that anxiety, to me, that walking out or going into an unknown situation, and that anxiety also feels in my body, not my mind, but in my body, it feels a little bit like excitement.
Yeah.
So I try to reframe that when I'm feeling that anxiety and that nervous energy, that maybe I'm just excited. Maybe I just don't know what's on the other side of that door. You know, I don't know. So let's think of it as excitement instead of, and that kind of helps me to give myself options. And I think really our brains need choices, because we've already programmed them. So they need new choices. They need new chances for new programming.
Oh, I love that. I love that new perspective, and I just love what you said. That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, that's just amazing. And you have a book, right?
I do, and it's here on my shelf. It's RISE Hypnotic Meditation, and it is the practice of RISE. It's 90 pages. It's not real big, but it's power-packed. And in this book, I explain why RISE works, how I came to it, and what the 4 parts are. RISE is an acronym, so it's relax, imagine, suggest, and empower. So I explain how to do each one of those steps. And then in the back, there's 25 or 30 different suggestions. So there's RISE for stage fright, RISE for grief, for surgery, for self-esteem, for bad habits, for smoking, for health problems, and a number of other things. And these are meant to be springboards, because I'm really trying to help people learn this as a practice, much like you would do meditation, where you sit every day and kind of reflect on your day, and the things that went well, really congratulate yourself and say, all right, this went really great. I did awesome. And then when I, you know, put my foot in my mouth or hurt someone's feelings, or I didn't do very well, give myself some forgiveness and some compassion, and say, you know, I'm going to do better tomorrow. You know, I'm a work in progress. So,
that's exactly what I believe too. So
because we let it mound up. We let it mound up, and we let it, you know, instead of kind of, refreshing the day.
Yeah, we're way too hard on ourselves sometimes. We beat ourselves.
I totally agree. Yep.
Worse enemies and bullies.
Yep. And what I'd like to remind you and your listeners is that it all starts with us. So if we can be kinder to ourselves, that energy does reflect out into the world. It really does have an effect on other people. Yeah. And when I do workshops, I bring this fun little toy I have. It's called an energy ball. Have you ever seen one of these?
No, I've never seen
They come out a lot about Halloween time, but they have 2 little electrodes on this little ping pong ball. And when you touch the 2 of them, it lights up.
Oh, that's so neat.
If you were here, I would have you touch this other one, and it wouldn't light up until I touched your skin in some place. Oh, wow. And then it lights up. So you can get like 20 people in a circle. And if anybody breaks the chain, it stops buzzing. And once the chain is formed, it goes off. And this is such concrete proof to me that our energy, we are electric beings. we do carry electricity in us, and it is connected. We do connect. We do share our energy. We share our effect on each other. So it's important for us to work on ourselves, not just for ourselves, but also for those that are around us. You know, we can't make anybody else change, but we can change ourselves.
Yeah, and that really changing ourselves really, like you said, does affect everybody else. And it is a way to change the world.
It is.
Like changing ourselves. That's that's just amazing, because like I believe in that too, and I'm always working on myself. I'm always trying to find ways to better myself, to be a better person, to work through my traumas and just work through my insecurities and just work through them just so I can become better. And
I'm so proud of you for that, because it's a lot easier to stay on the couch.
Yeah, it really is.
It is a lot easier to not try and to just say, oh, I'm just not going to have a good life and just write it off. But that's not what we're here for.
No.
You know, and I think that's where disease comes from, and a lot of depression is when we give up on ourselves. And you know, we're our best advocates. We know our bodies. We know what we like and what we don't like. And sometimes, you know, that's real intuitive too.
Yeah. And I love that your book has like all these different things about them. Like you said, there's for surgery and for smoking. So you're touching on everything. And so people can get through a certain time or certain experience that they're having at a certain moment, just so they can like become healthier, I guess, and just be calmer and just be okay with the situation.
Yeah. Because life happens to us all, you know. I remember thinking in my 20s that I was going to get to a point real soon. It was coming real soon, because I was almost an adult, where everything was going to smooth out and my life was going to be complete, and I was going to have all the answers, and it was going to be easy. Being an adult looked so easy when you're a kid. It's like, oh, I can't wait to be a grown-up. And then you become an adult, and it's like, oh, you know, you still have the same insecurities and fears and hopes and dreams.
Yeah, it's like you just think magically you're going to be an adult and like everything is just going to fall into place. And you don't realize that we're all faking it. We're all just like trying to make it look easy, but it's really not. Like the kids just think, oh, our parents are like superheroes. Look at these people. They have it all together. And we're just like, no, we're just trying to do the best that we possibly can at this moment.
One foot in front of the other.
Yeah, we're trying not to make like the worst mistakes and just hoping for the best, and you turn out okay and that we're okay. And
that's all we can do.
Yeah,
but it's a lot. It's a lot though. It is.
Yeah. I really thought when I turned into an adult, I thought when I was a kid, I thought, okay, I'm going to be married and have a house and have a car and all these things. By like, I had a timeline and everything, and it didn't work out, and I'm okay with that. But it's just, it's shocking when you're like a little kid and then you become that adult at that certain age, and you're like, wow, my life didn't turn out the way I thought it would, but that's okay. I have to be okay with that.
Yeah. And sometimes it turns out better.
Yeah.
So when I suggest, when people ask for change, ask for this change or something better.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's something out there for us. We have no inkling that it's waiting for us, or that skill is in us to do that certain thing. So sometimes, you know, our destiny kind of has to find us, and we have to be patient about that.
Yeah, that's really true. Like you found hypnotherapy, and me just podcasting, I get to meet people like you that are so incredible and have amazing stories. And I never thought that I would be in this position ever as a kid. I didn't think that that was a possibility, but to be here and now, and to be talking to you and to be talking to other people, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I was brave enough to put myself out there and
and to share your story, because what you have gone through and your struggles, everybody else goes through similar, maybe not the same, but none of us get out of this life without some pain and some struggle. So I think the more we're honest with each other about where we do struggle, and the more we can help support each other through those rough times.
Yeah, that's why I love that you do these workshops and that you have this book so you can help people just become better and just heal and work through their process and take their time and be gentle and compassionate to themselves.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautifully put.
That's why I love that you do this, because it's an amazing thing to do.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to share it out in the world. It's been a big change for me. You know, I've been one-on-one in my little counseling office for so long. And now to be out teaching and figuring out technology and doing podcasts and writing books. I mean, I'm 62 and this whole new life has opened up for me. So it's also, you never know. You never know when life is going to have you, you know, take a turn in the road and go do something new. But I've been very grateful, and it has given me a lot of passion and a lot of energy. I wake up excited to share RISE every day because I really do believe in it, and I've seen it as a tool to help people. So it's fun to get to talk about it.
Yeah, that's how everybody should be living. They should be excited to wake up and do what they love.
Right. It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, that's exactly what life should be.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that I just love seeing you so happy and so passionate about it, because it's just, I know that you're changing people's lives, and talking to you, you're changing my life. So you're making a big impact.
Good. From your lips.
Yeah.
Thank you. I hope so.
I'm glad that you decided to come on my podcast and talk to me. And yeah, I'm just grateful to have met you, and I will definitely be leaving your website in my show notes, and I'll also be leaving your social medias, so everybody knows where to get your book and where to find you. So they can sign up for your workshops.
Yes, please. Yeah, and I love to travel and teach. So if anybody, you know, can get a group of 10 people together, I'd love to come and teach your group. And I'm also doing a virtual teacher training in January. So 2 hours over 3 Sundays, I'm going to teach people how, so that they can teach it in their communities. So if you have anyone that's interested in doing that, that's also on the website, and they can sign up.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's a great way to start like the new year too.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. You're doing all of this stuff. I don't even know what to say. I'm just impressed by you.
Oh, you're sweet. You're sweet.
And your story. I had all these questions. Like, who cares? We're having a conversation.
I know, right. No, just talking about life. Just talking about life.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'd like to tell you about is that I do a monthly meetup, you know, the app meetup. It's virtual, but I do a guided meditation, and it's free. So if anyone would like to just participate and see what the process is like and enjoy a guided meditation, it's usually for peace in some aspect, peace in our brains or our bodies or both.
I'm sure people would love that.
And so anybody's welcome to join.
Well, they will definitely find your website in my show notes, so they can find you.
Then they will find it.
Yeah, and they will find all of your workshops and everything, your book. So they can connect with you and hopefully have a great experience like I have had just talking to you.
Good.
Yeah. Good. I don't even know what to say. I'm so thankful that you were my second podcast guest, and I can't believe it's taken like so many bumps to get here. I'm grateful that we finally get to
We didn't give up though, did we?
No. I'm so glad that we didn't give up and that we finally got to see each other and talk. And I'm sure a lot of people will find you, and I'm hope that they can find peace within themselves, and by reading your book or anything, just by going to your workshops, just to do anything to make their lives a little bit better and easier and have
absolutely
peace. Yeah.
And more authentic, because I think sometimes we also have behaviors that we learn that don't really suit us anymore. There's a funny story called the ham story. Do you know the ham story?
Oh no, I've never heard of it.
There's a woman making a ham one night, and she cut the two ends off of the ham and wrapped it in foil and put it in the oven. And her husband asked her, "Now, why did you cut the two ends off of the ham before you baked it?" And she said, "I don't know. That's how my mother always did it." So the woman goes back to her mother and says, "Mom, why do you cut the ends off of the ham and wrap it in foil before you put it in the oven?" She said, "Well, that's how my mother always did it." So she goes back to her grandmother and says, "Granny, why do you cut the two ends off of the ham and wrap it in foil before you put it in the oven?" And Granny says, "Because that's the size of my oven."
Oh, okay. So it's a generational habit. Yeah. We pick up
So we have those. We have those.
Yeah, we have those for sure. Yeah.
So those are good things to look at and to decide, okay, I'm going to, I have a bigger oven now. I'm going to save that extra half a pound of ham.
Yeah.
And I'm going to shift things up a little bit.
I love that.
I think we all have things like that we can look at and and reframe for better.
For sure.
Along that same line, my family is very Irish. You can tell by the red hair, and they had a tradition at Halloween of putting money and a thimble and a button in the mashed potatoes. And whatever you scooped out, you got to keep. As long as you ate the mashed potatoes, you could keep whatever money or coins or a button or a thimble. And if you got the thimble, it meant you were going to be an old maid. And if you got the button, it meant you were going to be a bachelor. And so this year I was thinking about that tradition, and I have two granddaughters now. And I thought, I would never make that for them. Not only what does it say about marriage, and if marriage at all costs, or you're going to be a bachelor or you're going to be an old maid. And also sucking on the money to get the mashed potatoes off of the coins, the heavy metals that you're ingesting and that you're putting in your mouth. It was such a terrible thing.
That's weird.
Every year growing up, that's what we did on Halloween.
Yeah.
So, it's good to think about, to be aware, to live in awareness and mindfulness. What am I doing and why am I doing it? And is this really truly who I want to be? So, so we're not putting money in the mashed potatoes anymore. And I had to tell my 90-year-old mother that the tradition was stopping this year. I'm really sorry, but the tradition is stopping.
Yeah, because the body is more important right now.
It really is. And it's it's kind of gross. That's what I thought about it.
And just the mindset of taking away from it, going, oh, okay, I have this. Should I embody this now? Should I be the bachelor? Should I be the old maid? Should I be this person? Yeah. Yeah.
It's like giving yourself this label.
Yeah.
It was wrong on so many levels. And I remember also eating more mashed potatoes than I really wanted, because you wanted to get that quarter that was in there. There was usually one quarter, some dimes and some nickels, but mostly pennies. So you really wanted that quarter. So I would eat an extra helping of mashed potatoes to get that. And it's just a bad idea.
Yeah, that's another bad habit too. Just like eating, even though you're full, you just want to get that quarter.
Yeah, as kids will,
Yeah, and maybe it was a fun tradition back then, but it's just very much seems like too much now.
Yeah. Well, and I think money's going away, so I don't think it'll be a problem here in the next decade or so. We probably won't have coins anymore.
Yeah.
So it won't be my fault for eliminating the tradition.
Yeah, exactly. My great grandmother used to do the same thing though, but she used to do it in cakes. She used to put money in cakes.
Oh, okay. That's an English tradition, I think. Yeah. It's would it be one coin, or would you have several?
We would have them kind of cornered off. They would all be in a piece of each one in each side of the cake. Yeah, and then we would chop them up, and everybody would have like a quarter or something, or $1 or a penny or something, and we would eat it, and we would have to find this like coin, but it would be in every little piece. So we would have to
so everybody got. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'd have to keep track of it by like putting icing around them and putting like things to signal, okay, this is where the coin is. so nobody swallowed it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So we stopped that a long time ago because it was just too much work. It was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
we can't.
We had the time back then for that.
Yeah, it was just too much work, and we were just so afraid of everybody swallowing it. We were just like, we don't want anybody swallowing money.
I know.
So we had to stop that like a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
But it used to be fun.
But I guess that used to be, you know, a value. Those coins,
Yeah.
it was a big deal. And to get a coin was a big deal because that you could buy a lot more than just, you know, penny candy or something, which is what I remember spending on. You know.
And I guess it was a fun time to pass the time too, because they didn't have very many things to do, right? Like they may not have been able to afford books, and they definitely didn't have televisions and all the things that we have now. So I guess it would have been a fun thing to do, just pass the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But those are funny traditions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how
we'll write them down. We'll keep them alive by telling the stories to our grandchildren and tell them what we saved them from.
Yeah. But just those things, it's just that's such a funny time in life.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it though? I think there's so much changing, so on so many levels, so quickly. And I'm all for it, but I feel like it's going to be a while before we know all the changes that have happened.
Yeah, and it's also very intense too. It just feels like it's nonstop, and that kind of can mess up your nervous system and your brain and everything, because it's just too active all the time to rest.
Mm-hmm. So even to take a few minutes, you know, throughout the day and stop and close your eyes and breathe, you know, is really important, because again, that's just putting your nervous system in what they call a still point. In craniosacral language, they call it a still point, and it just lets your whole nervous system kind of shut down and relax. Yeah. So those little power naps and really just closing your eyes for 2 or 3 minutes and breathing consciously for 2 or 3 minutes can do such great work to your nervous system.
Yeah, because we're always on the go. There's no time to really give our nervous system a break.
And it doesn't take that long. It's the awareness and remembering to do it. Because usually, you know, we're up to here and we're overwrought, or we're sad, or we're depressed or something before we realize, boy, I got to get this in line. I need to do something. So I really like just, you know, reflecting each day and every day and trying to make it the best. And then letting it go. You know, I did what I could do. Tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah, I'm taking that with me. I'm taking what you said with me. Okay. That's a good thing to do. I'm going to take that with me. Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
That's going to be one of my new routine added habits. Yeah.
Good. Good.
Oh, thank you so much for being on my show.
Oh, it's been such a joy. It really has. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you so much. With all the technology issues, thank you so much for being so patient and kind and just understanding. Thank you so much for being on my show and just being able to do this interview. And I hope that we can do it again.
That would be great. I would love to do that. Stay in touch.
Yeah, I definitely will. I definitely will with you. I had so much fun.
Good, good. And when you go to the website, there's a lot of videos you can listen to too. So maybe one evening you want to put one on and listen to a RISE video and see what you think.
Oh, that's good too. The listeners should be listening to that.
Yeah, they're free and they're just at the website. I think there's one for guilt, one for negative thought patterns, one for patience. There's 4 or 5 different videos. And then there's some that explain RISE and the process and why I set it up the way I did.
Oh, wow. That's great. I definitely will check it out, and I hope my listeners
Please. I'd love to know what you think.
That is something that should be added into everybody's life.
Thank you.
For sure.
You're very sweet. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for being on air with Danielle Gray and with my new segment, Deep Dive Conversations. And for now, we're going to sign off, but thank you so much for doing this interview, and I hope that we can do one again, and I will stay in touch with you for sure. Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.